Hi everyone, my name's Katharine and welcome back to our videos here at the Pence. So today I'm seated in the main gallery where we have our new exhibit, 1968 of Folsom Redemption, which features the photos of Johnny Cash from his tours at Folsom Prison. So you'll have seen some other videos by our director and curator Natalie Nelson about how we put up this exhibit and also a more in-depth tour of some of the photographs in the show. But what I wanted to talk to you about today is something that I really love about photography, which is the stereoscope. So I am actually a collector of stereographs, which go with this device, and you'll probably have seen these if you go to a flea market or antique stores. I love going to flea markets, so I always look for these. And what this device is it's an early part of the history of photography. So photography was invented around the early 1800s, and this really came into play around the mid-century. And what it is it's an entertainment device, much like the Viewmasters that we had when we were kids. People at the time didn't really have radios or even moving pictures until the late 1800s, so this is something that they used for entertainment and also for education. And how you use the device is you hold it and you have a handle here, and then you insert one of the cards known as a stereograph in the lens, and you look through it and view it. And what it does is it produces a really amazing illusionary 3D effect. And people at the time thought it was revolutionary. They looked at views like this one, which is a scene from Europe. So it was a way for people to armchair travel. They saw distant views that they never would have seen, maybe the pyramids of Egypt, but also they would have seen domestic scenes or scenes of wars or politics. It was used for a lot of journalistic reporting too, and a really interesting part of that era. They were used up until the 1950s as well. It's a really interesting part of photographic history. Something that's led us up to this point where we have photographs like this in our exhibit, and maybe something that we take for granted nowadays. Something else I'd like to talk to you about today is another alternative photographic process called the cyanotype or sun print, which you might be more familiar with. And I'm going to walk you through making a sun print as a craft that you can do at home during this time if you just have a few materials. Otherwise, we'll talk to you about some alternatives you can do as well. Hi everyone, so now I've moved over to the docent desk here in the gift shop at the Pence. And another photographic process that I want to share with you besides the stereoscope, which we just talked about, is the cyanotype or sun print. So making a sun print from home is pretty simple. What you'll need is sun print paper. I ordered this from Amazon, and I know it's difficult to access some things right now. Usually these would be available at your local craft store, but you might have to order it online. Some other things you'll need are some objects to create interesting textures. So I really loved this lace embroidered handkerchief that I took from home. Have another scrap of lace here, and then I went outside and I gathered some different leaves. The key for sun prints though is to pick something that will lay pretty flat, so it will create a nice shape once you put it on your paper. This, for example, is a little pointy and probably wouldn't be the best for a sun print. But if you can't find sun print paper right now, another alternative is to use diluted bleach in a spray bottle with water and some fabric. You could do it on a t-shirt or some extra scrap fabric that you have at home. And what you can do is also place these objects on a t-shirt or fabric and use the bleach spray that you have created to produce a similar effect. So now I'll show you how I'm going to lay out my objects on the sun print. So now we are zoomed in, and I'm just playing around with how I want to lay these objects on a piece of paper. I think this will create a really nice pattern because the lines of the fabric are really thin, so sun will be able to come through. This one maybe, we can play with it. And then I'm thinking of using some of these flatter leaves. What's going to happen when you put the sun print out into the sun for 15 to 20 minutes is the parts of the paper that are covered will turn white, and the rest of the blue paper will remain blue. So I just came back from picking up my sun print from outside, and what you want to do before you get the finished product like this is make sure you take your paper over to the sink and run it under some water. And you'll know it's done once the parts of your design turn completely white. So I think I'm quite happy with how this turned out. I actually really like how the lace blurred right here, and that's more so because it was windy outside and probably not the best day for a sun print. But regardless, this is still a fun activity that you can do at home. You just need the paper, and you can easily go in your backyard and pick some leaves and find some other fabrics in your house. But again, if you don't have access to these materials, test out the bleach and water and the same objects, fabric or even leaves, and see if you can produce a similar effect. Thank you so much for watching. I also wanted to remind everyone that if you are interested in learning more about sun prints, also called cyanotypes, we're actually having a workshop coming up here in June with Linda Clark Johnson. She's an amazing artist who works with cyanotypes all the time. But I know because of the coronavirus outbreak, we might be rescheduling the class, hopefully for sometime this year, if not definitely 2021. So stay tuned and look out for Linda's class, and make sure to subscribe and check out our other videos.